Hey, good Thursday morning. Thanks for checking out the latest forecast update this morning. Meteorologist Kirk Hins with BAM Weather. Just wanted to discuss with you guys today what we're seeing kind of going forward. We got some new data this morning with the Japanese weeklies as well as the latest drought monitor that I am super excited to share with you all today. So I think you're really going to find a lot of this information extremely useful. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it this morning. A little bit of high pressure hanging around the eastern United States. Our next chance for some showers, even a couple rumbles of thunder, will occur overnight into Friday across the Ohio Valley. We continue to see, however, some wintry risks continue to pop up across the Northeast, and that's widely due to the negative NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation that is set up over there, which the blocking over Greenland forces that colder air down here, and we get more wintry precipitation. You can kind of see that as we move into the weekend. High pressure sets up late weekend into next week. I do, however, think the pattern turns more active into next week. Remember, we said that 6 to 10 to week 2 time frame. We're expecting to start feeling the influence of the Pacific Jet, and I really think that we begin to see that starting early next week as we get some more showers and a few thunderstorms possible across portions of the ag belt. Continuing to see the wintry implications up there across the Northeast that we're keeping an eye on. But look at this, guys. It's almost every few days we've got here late week once again, keeping really close eyes on this system. Models have continued with this solution over the past couple days with a nice cold front sweeping through the central and eastern parts of the U.S. Would definitely bring some much needed rainfall across portions of Missouri that really need it, and across the southern and southeastern United States are really needed as well. We'll touch on the drought monitor here in just a little bit as well. So the theme of this, guys, is we're turning active, and that's all because of the influence of the Pacific Jet increasing over the Pacific Ocean. So we'll touch on that here in a second. You can kind of see here, I wanted to show you total rainfall over the next 2 weeks via the European ensembles and the GFS ensembles. Right here is the European ensemble. If we go over here to this little color table here, the orange and the reds indicate 2 to 3 inches isolated higher amounts possible across portions that need it, places that need it. Missouri, western Illinois, the southern and southeastern United States get on some much needed rain. This is crucial here. Even more so on the GFS ensembles. They go a little bit more aggressive with the rain here, more widespread as well. So this is a good signal for right now, especially for locations that need the rainfall. The question becomes, and I know it's hard to ask, is there a point where we receive too much rain? We have to keep that in mind with a forecast as we progress forward. So in terms of temperatures, we can really see the warmth that's been situated across the western United States over the next 5 days, plus 15, plus 20. I don't think out of the question. We start to see these warmer temperatures bleeding east as we get closer into the 6 to 10 days. Still continue to see those cooler risks across the east and the east coast. But as I mentioned, as we get into the 6 to 10 day here, I'll bring up the European ensembles, starting to see that the increased heights more across the central United States. That means we're bringing in a little bit warmer weather right here. You got to figure the influence of the Pacific Jet helping this as well, bringing in these warmer or normal to above normal temperatures. However, still seeing the influence of cooler temperatures across the northern tier of the United States in the 6 to 10. Can't write off some more wintry implications up there in the Northeast. It seems like this is the growing theme as we have been talking all about March up there. So you just have to keep close eyes on that. And then moving forward more into the 11 to 15 day time frame here. This is the European ensembles as well. More of the same, more ridging in the central United States. And then look at this, more lower heights up here across the Northeast. So more of the same pattern over the next 2 weeks, but starting to see some of that warmth starting to bleed east. These are some fantastic maps that we have access to, and that lets us know the threshold of temperatures at or below a certain temperature, which is super important. For example, 28 degrees. Here is the probability of temperatures that are less than or equal to 28 degrees over the next 5 days. And the reason that this is important, actually, I want to pull up the, sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong maps here. I want to pull up the European ensembles because they're the most accurate over a longer span of time. And you can see there is still a large portion of the ag belt in the northeast that are higher in probability of temperatures falling below 28 degrees over the next 5 days, which means that there is still a good likelihood of freezes possible, especially on vegetation. The interesting thing is, though, getting into the 6 to 10 day here, we really start to see that warmth popping up. This is the probability of temperatures greater than 90 degrees, so we can really start to see those increased heights across the central United States, and even more so, here's the probability of temperatures less than or equal to 28 degrees. We start to see this shift north a little bit, which is a good sign. We need to see the ground starting to warm, the soil temperature starting to warm again, similar to what we saw in February. So I think it's a slow, gradual process, but it is nice to see this trend line going further north. And it's even more so similar in the 11 to 15 day here, a little bit even further north. Obviously, there's a little bit more uncertainty, but, the line isn't showing all the way down here into the southern United States, which I think is important going forward. So switching gears just a little bit, let's talk a little bit about South America. I do a lot of the forecasting for South America, so I love to talk about the forecast down there because it has big implications on what we're talking about here in North America. So here's the forecast over the next 7 days, starting to see some good signs for some drier weather across central and northeastern Argentina into Uruguay and southern Brazil that have been so wet lately. But however, we are starting to see more rains across Paraguay into central Brazil, Mato Grosso. This is the trend we haven't changed at all across eastern Brazil. It's been dry. I've been talking about dryness there for the last 2 to 3 months, so not really expecting this pattern to change. And why am I not expecting that pattern to change? Well, I'm glad you asked. So this is regions 1.2, ENSO regions 1.2. So the gist of it is, why are we seeing El Nino-like conditions across South America? The gist of it is it's been incredibly warm across regions 1.2, which is just northwest of South America. So this is the main region that influences South American weather the greatest. So if waters are warm across northwestern South America, that's going to increase convection, that's going to increase chances for rain. That's responsible for the eastern Brazil dryness and the wetness across south central South America. So I'm not really expecting that change to change a whole lot. So shifting gears more towards North American weather. So what do we mean when we say the Pacific Jet extension is starting to gear up? So this is the Pacific Jet here crossing the Pacific Ocean. And watch as it becomes more of a uniform line as I take this forward here. So you see how it's gaining strength and intensity as we go forward, and this is more into the 6 to 10 day, and you start to see it moving into, heads up here, we've seen this before, California, that atmospheric river. I think that kicks back up in the 6 to 10 day. Wouldn't be shocked to see more heavy rainfall across California, and we see it continue east right here all the way into the central United States and into the ag belt. So that's the pattern that's responsible for why we're getting an increase in rains. I mean, look, this thing gets even stronger as we continue in the forecast time frame. So that is why we're saying that we have increasing confidence in more rainfall across the central United States going forward. So just wanted to show you kind of the why behind what we're saying, and these are updated outlooks. You guys all have access to these that we posted on the website this morning. You get the gist of it. It's getting wetter in week 2 and beyond. So latest Japanese weeklies came out today. Just wanted to briefly show, this is the week 2 forecast here, and I'll try to zoom in so you can see a little bit better, but we're seeing a lot of consistency here. And 1 second here, guys. Anyways, you can see right here as I'm going to circle, that's where we're seeing a lot of wetness there too, across basically the entire country in week 2. We're really starting to see the pattern turn active. So getting a little bit further out, there are new Japanese monthlies that were issued today, and I really like these because they give us a new ENSO plume that we like to check out. This is Nino 3.4 that was issued. And what we know is we're not officially in ENSO until we're ½ degree above anomaly in Enzo 3.4. So I know that this is a rough line here, but there is data continuing to suggest that we have El Nino or El Nino-like conditions by April or May. The question here, guys, as we discussed yesterday, is are we going to see a reversal in trade winds across the Pacific, equatorial Pacific? Because none of these models matter if we're still seeing easterly trade wind bursts across the equatorial Pacific. So it's a trend we're watching extremely closely. Obviously, it's nice to see the models indicate an El Nino, and we know that the faster the El Nino onset is, the more wetter and cooler risks. The slower, the drier and warmer risks as we get later into spring and summer. So, take it with a grain of salt right now, but there are implications that we're just a little bit slower right now, guys. And lastly, I just wanted to show, this is the first month. This is for an April forecast. Very wet across the central and southern portions of the United States that have been drier. Good signals, all good signals. And lastly, guys, I wanted to show you this is the latest drought monitor that was updated. I like this little tool they have here. It's a slider on their website. Kind of shows you where we were last week. Here's last week, and here's we are forward. So as you can see, there isn't really a whole lot of change across where we've been dry. You can see here over on the East Coast, there is a little bit of change. But otherwise, guys, we're still pretty dry here across the central United States. But, however, we do have that Pacific jet starting to rear up, and that's good signs for these areas here that are dry right now. I do think there's a good potential that we erase a lot of this dryness getting deeper into March and into April as we continue the active pattern. So that's all I have for now. If you have any questions, please let us know. We hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.